The ego, what it's looking for is goodness, wholeness, completeness, worthiness, validity, well-being, right? The idea is to recognize the availability of that in each and every moment, in each and every quote unquote locations, in each and every point in the whole existence. I would like to give a helpful image here. Imagine three flower plants, let's say, and they're all at a distance from each other on the ground. Now, as we know, nourishment comes from the soil, right? From the ground on which they're rooted in. That's where they get their nourishment. Now, how the ego operates is that it projects this nourishment on another plant. So let's say plant A, B, and C. If the ego is in plant A, it will project wholeness, well-being on plant B. And so it will spend its time trying to chase plant B. And if it gets to plant B, it will now project wholeness, well-being on plant C. And it will now spend its time trying to chase plant C, and so on and so forth. But what the ego doesn't realize is that nourishment does not lie in there. Happiness, well-being, wholeness does not lie in the external world, in the surface layer, in appearances, in circumstances, in another person, in whatever achievement, accumulation, amassing, etc., etc. It doesn't lie in there, you see. But the ego is so, let's say, hypnotized, sort of brainwashed in this cyclic chasing. The ego runs in this horizontal pattern, going from one plant to another plant, thinking that finally this plant will provide me the nourishment that I am looking for. But when there's realization of a deeper layer, of another layer, then the soil layer comes online. And there's the realization that nourishment does not lie in any of these surface stuff. It's in this other layer. It's in this deeper layer. And this nourishment is actually available whether I'm at plant A or B or C. It remains the same. It's the same soil. It's the same ground containing the same nourishment. This is the vertical, let's say, direction or movement that allows this soil layer where nourishment lies, where true nourishment lies, to come online in our beingness, right? It's finally realizing that true wholeness and completeness and okayness, goodness, is not contained in plant A or B or C. They don't have the proprietorship over that. No flower plant contains that. It's contained in the soil. It's not anywhere in these surface appearances. And this soil is equally available whichever plant you're at. This, let's say, quote unquote, wellspring of well-being is where each plant is rooted in. So no matter how much you try to extract happiness or well-being from the surface layer, the hungry ghost remains the hungry ghost because the soil layer is still offline. And so we see this happening all around us. Dysfunctional, codependent relationships where the people involved are, treating one another as validity or worthiness or wellness dispenser, right? Thinking that that person holds, has proprietorship over their worthiness or wellness or wholeness. And again, the same with possessions or wealth, thinking that the 2 million has the proprietorship of worthiness or well-being or completeness. It's not in there. It's not in any of the surface things. It's like thinking that plant B contains what you're looking for. It's not in the plant. The nourishment lies in the soil. It's in this deeper layer where everything is rooted in. That is why wholeness, completeness, and well-being is not quote unquote gainable or losable. It's not like the plant B or C that you can acquire and attain. This soil, this ground, you don't grab at it. You see, you don't go get it. You don't go get there. It's not grasped by the grabby hands of the ego doer. It is that which it's rooted in. It's the essence of your true nature. If it's your true nature, how can you grasp at it? You can only, quote unquote, fall back into it, step back into it. You're the one got it, you see. It's like the plant cannot grab the soil, the ground, the wide expanse of soil, right? It can only realize that it's already being nourished or substantiated by the rich soil. The plant can only realize its own source of well-being, its own source of goodness. It can only realize that it's not apart from it. It's not separated from it. It's not over there. It actually cannot exist without being connected to this ground. A plant, when it's uprooted from the ground, will actually die, right? Will actually be, quote unquote, non-existent, right? If it's truly, truly, truly cut off, then it will not exist. And since you exist, we exist, that means we're not actually cut off. We've never been separated. Because again, if we were truly, truly separated, we would not exist. Our existence itself signified that we are not separate from goodness, from our own wellspring of well-being. That is why this sense of separation or cut-offness is an illusion. It's like a dream. It's as if there's this blinders over the soil, right? So the plant thinks that it's separated from goodness, from everything else, from the rest of the universe, when in actuality, it's part of it. When the blinders or veil is lifted from the soil layer, then the plant realizes that it's never been disconnected. It's never been separated. It was just a dream.